income that slowly managed to invest. I fixed the fencing, bought a few head of new cattle, and renovated the farm. It wasn't a dying farm on the brink of foreclosure anymore. It was a living, breathing, productive property of the future. In his last year of business, getting good grades, and talking more seriously than ever of becoming a Doc Miller had started letting him tag along on some farm calls, teaching him about animals, profession, and life. Mary Claire had finished her nursing and landed a job at a hospital in Kansas City. She sent news every week and visited when she could. She was dating a guy she described as a good man. I was looking forward to meeting him. Faith had become a legend.
Well, it was
the story spread from counter. Gideon's cow at the auction, the one nobody wanted, the one everyone laughed at, had become a symbol of something people needed to believe in. Every now and then, someone would show up at the farm wanting to see it, take a photo, hear the story. I always told him, never getting tired of it, but it was a story that deserved told. A story about not giving up, about seeing value where others see waste, about having faith when it's lost. Mr. Henderson, the man who bought the twins, contacted me a few months after the sale to give me an update. A roaring and starved, but strong, healthy. They were among the best
academic
on his farm.
Academic power.
He even offered to buy paper from me in pocket with some of money. Then it never. She's not for sale. She's family. He understood. Faith was going to stay right here until the end of her days, on the land she had helped set, with the family
Her name
she
was
had helped keep together. Easter. One day in May, almost a year and a half after everything happened, I was on the porch when I saw a car I didn't recognize pulling into the farm road. It was a city car, too clean, looking out of place, then dust. It stopped in front of the house, and a man got in. Young, maybe 30, well-dressed, and nervous looking son, wasn't sure the right place. Mr. John Baptist, that's me. He walked up and shook my hand. My name is Ethan Reed. I'm a German. I work for a magazine out of Kansas City. He hesitated. I'd heard the story about faith, and I came to ask if he'd be willing to do an interview. Interview? Yes. For a feature story about stories of resentment, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And also, it's exactly what we need. I thought about saying, I didn't like being in the spotlight or being the central attention. But then I thought about something else. I thought about all the reasons why I'd been going through what I'd been through. Alone, desperate, thinking there was no way out. I thought that maybe, just maybe, my story could help someone else not give up. All right, I said, you can do the interview. Journalist's face lit up. Really? I'll do it. I will. But on one condition. What's that? I pointed toward the pasture where Faith was lying in the shade of her tree. The real hero of this story is her. Then the interview has to happen out there, right next to her. Journalist smiled. Dean. Story came out a month later. It took up 4 pages in the magazine with photos of Faith being milked at the farm. The headline was, "The Cow Nobody Wanted. The Story of Faith, Compassion, and Second Chances." I read the article sitting on the porch with Luke by my side. When I finished, I sat in silence. "So, Dad," Luke asked, "what do you think?" I looked at the photo of Faith, took up the whole page. Calm, brown-eyed, shiny coat, expression of peace. I like it. She looks real good. You're famous now. No, I corrected. She's famous. I was just lucky enough to be along for the ride. Luke leaned his head on me. Dad, do you think Margaret? From up there, I looked at the sky and the yellow poplars way rain that falls, the sun that rises, without asking for permission. What we do get to choose is what we do. That day at the auction, when I saw Faith for the first time, I could have done what everyone else did. I could have laughed, pointed, or pulled out my phone to film social media. I could have turned my back and walked away, looking for an animal that was actually worth something. But I chose differently. I chose to see what no one else did. I chose to believe when it didn't make a lick of sense to believe. I chose to reach out to someone, in this case a creature, that the whole world had already written off. And that choice changed everything. Not because I'm anything special, and not just an ordinary one, cats and animals, with a steady ache in my back, fighting every day to keep my family fed and stand up and eat. I'm just like thousands of others together.
struggling. He drove past 40 acres every morning on his way to the co-op, his 1998 Ford F-25, both rattling over the county road. flat again. Having a big 5 months. Go $33,000 to the bank. Father's dead. As our emergency fund on your two family. It's not dead. It's compacted. Structured wrong. Not the land itself. Marcus. Can't afford wrong. Lost them. Sat down. I saw the soil. 12 inches down, there's moisture, organic matter. His eyes went message. Your father made bets. That's why we're in debt. That's why he's dead. Doctor, backing on the last word. I won't raise our baby alone because we learned from his mistakes. I'm not my father. Did exactly what he done. Saw something he wanted and took it without thinking about what it cost him. Thought about it. 3 months I've been thinking. Did you think about hospital bills? Quiet now. Words of it. Oh. Think about what happens if something goes wrong with the pregnancy. Think about the fact that I'm the only one with health insurance. Farm income doesn't qualify us for anything affordable. Marcus. Silence. Outside, dead front pass on county road. Kate stood up, gathering spelling tests. Back. Here. Doesn't work it. Tell it. I'm not the. Promise me. Fine. Marcus spoke the word. Pedal on the test. All I'm asking. Keep walking. Back to. Promise me, Marcus. Say it. Promise. On our way. Turned on the faucet. She was giving herself something to do, not to look at it. Point of it. Left the kitchen. He heard her footsteps on the stairs. Creak of steps that needed fixing. Grandfather's time. Bedroom were closed. Not slammed. Just closed. Final. Marcus sat at the table in the house running arms around him. Thought about his father and the mountain. Thought about the 48 moisture 12 inches down the way the soil was held alive again. Thought about Kate's hand on her belly, protecting something that hadn't even been born yet. Broke at 48 midnight. Heels with silver under a half-moon cross. Double. Knelt to the edge of the dead ground touched the bust. Felt like things. Felt like hope. Sometimes those things were exactly the same. Both times sorts them out. Spiritually started them on Sunday. Farmland community. White clapboard built in 1947. Visible miles out. Congregation 87 people on it. Mostly fourth generation farmers. Families baptized and buried in the same cemetery. But Brennan was 59, married to Alton Brennan, farm 800 acres, drove in a heavy Silverado in. Her floral dresses were virgin, smelled like roses left in fog in it. Cornered Kate at his fellowship hall with a coffee and a cook for boss. Ceremony room. Are you sure, Marcus? Emily. Kate forced a smile. You're fine. He touched Kate's arm and gestured close to comforting. Felt like ownership. Just that everyone's worried. Buying that dead ground with him on the way. It's a lot of pressure. And men, especially farm men, they don't always know when they're in over their heads. Marcus knows what he's doing. Jim thought that. Lies were kind and moving sometimes nice, selfless kindness.
Yeah,
What happened? We just don't want you to go through whatever. Months after Jim died, Andy was at the farm and he had a card at Christmas. Never called. Hated met her twice. Once at the wedding, once at the. They appreciate the concern. Pizza. I did it. But we're managing. Ruth smiled. Of course you are. Know that if you ever need anything at all, we're here for you. Women clustered around the coffee or nodded. Bridget Sullivan. Might have been pity, or might have been relief that it wasn't. Rooms smelled like burnt coffee. Paleness of church fellowship halls everywhere. Kate found Marcus outside by the truck. He was talking to Dalton Brennan, weatherman, conversation low and punctually. Laughter and someone. Marcus's face was neutral. It always was. Investigates. But you bought the dead 40 pulse. Fall 60. That's it. Let's do it. Action. Weeks worth of fiats. $100. Cash will be strategy. Faithful. Marcus. Lose my dog, but that doesn't make sense. Also looked at me. Laughed. Everything paid for. The question is whether it's nicely. That's me. Don't know. Don't know. Daddy thought like you. All operations. Farming this game, grandfather work. Not anyone. Kept his farm, Marcus. That's somewhere. Home to. Nowhere. That's standing still while everyone else moves forward. You can't compete farming like it's 1950. I'm not trying to compete. I'm trying to survive. Same thing, kid. To survive by staying ahead. Stay ahead by investing. That dead ground of you. That's not investing. That's throwing good money after bad. Marcus didn't respond. He learned a long time ago, arguing, and like Dalton, like arguing, so change it, energy trying. Kate touched his mind. He drove home in silence. County road, empty, nothing, no sign, corn stubble from last year's harvest, nothing, no. Marcus asked, things that everyone said. Started at 2 in the morning, regular. Marcus over to the hospital. Harrison, 5 minutes a day. Hands tight up. Let's check engine light in the front. M10 money. Labor lasted. Complicated. Heart rate dropped twice. Doctor talked about C-section, medical evidence. Marcus and Kate ripped his hand hard enough. Marcus. That damn. I'm here, Marcus. I won't leave. Don't let her grow up without you. Action. Promise me. I promise. Sarah Webb was born at 8 that evening. 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Country. And Kate dies in Marcus's dark hair. First placed her in Kate's arms, Marcus felt something push his chest that kept nose was closed. The hospital came 3 weeks. $8,400. That's covered $600, $2,200. Marcus worked double shifts on the main farm Sunrise and past midnight running until his hands cramped and his eyes blurred. 40 acres sat untouched except for the cover crops growing wild and unmanaged. Timber brought them. Marcus walked them. Radishes had found one, dug around one, found it had penetrated 8 inches of clay. Fruit had died when frost came, left a channel, a hollow tube, action. Rye was picked golden brown, ready to melt, putting his hand into the soil. It gave, not much, just slightly, like something that had been holding its breath, burning to. Kate brought Clara out in October. Baby was 3 months old, bundled in blankets against the autumn chill. First time Kate had visited the 40 since Marcus bought it. Stood at the edge holding Clara, looking at the wild mess of cover crop. What we spent $7,400 on. Inning. Looks like nothing. Marcus bent down, pulled up a handful of soil, tumbled in his palm, darkened, and hard. Clara just went on it, touched it. Now it's humble. Let's change. Clara started crying. Had enough. Marcus walked back to the country. Thought about the soil recovery, about structure being invisible until it's tested, about its father's month over everywhere. Heart exploded, pressure never let up. December came cold. Snow fell the week, covering light. Possible. Marcus walked it alone, then walking. Cover crops had been killed by frost, and stalks poking snow. But underground was more panels existed now that hadn't existed. Structure, influence, action. He had stopped fighting him about the money. Stopped talking much at all. Went to work, came home. Care of Clara was that moved around each other like strangers, running. Distance felt like miles. Christmas morning, Clara was 5 months old. 8 sisters and a gift card, $50 to Target. Ruth Brennan brought over a casserole with spices. Picking up a collection, that's $340 in an envelope marked for every family. 85 not competitive. Came. That night after Clara was after bottles, here's the wall for it. Came to the kitchen, Marcus and logged planning. I need to tell you something, Kate, since her hands were folded in front of her. About bad news, Karen about her. Open the savings, my name only. I got the money for my salary, $1,200. Marcus took from the envelope. Not bad. Why would I do that? I don't trust you. For us. And I hate that I'm doing it, but I can't stop myself because I'm terrified. What? Of everything. Why? Ending up like your mother alone in Arizona trying to... Clara growing up not knowing his father. Helped to death. Bank to pain. Stop. Tears running down her. I'm silent. Steady. Not mad. Marcus and analog. Never show it. Because if I show it, it becomes real. If I admit I might think I've already failed. That's not how it works. I know. Marcus, Foster. I know that's not how it works. I don't know another way. Except to keep going. That's what matters, even when no one is mattering. And if it doesn't, that way, together, deeply important. We have 2 left. Tell me it's worth it, Marcus. Tell me I didn't make a mistake with it. Put in the kitchen, all quiet, and furnace burning. Outside, covered everything. Down, and fragile. Come spring. No. Come spring, 48. Father started to put himself forward as everyone else right. Marcus held his wife, thought about promise. Of the one he made the call. One he did. All his life, and his name now is spoiled life. Trust me. All the evidence is otherwise. Spring came late. March brought the rain. Everything that I followed by that. But no gas. Marcus spread another round of chips along. Working alone. Back in 1979 in the Monty. Monty. And Bob. Bad love. Pete watched her. While Pete and Clara, 9 months old, Pete's salary, grocery facilities, Clara's business. Marcus' farm income went entirely to the bank payment and operating costs. Nothing left over. $1,200 Hector hadn't found the money. Kept his eyes forward, hands steady on the old man did the same thing. Called his police hurried over and Illinois. Convinced himself he was smart, patient, died broke, that's your future, kid. Question of how long it takes. Marcus passed, turned the tractor, headed back the other direction. Dalton watched for another minute. Long. Encounter left Marcus hollered. Not because Dalton, because some part of the market wondered if it was right. Noon bought drought. Not the kind that makes headlines, kind of margin. No rain for 3 weeks and full. Temperatures climbed into the 90s and seas. Hills started showing stress by late corn leaves, soybeans. Marcus ran irrigation on the main 128, pumping from the well his grandfather had in 1907. Electric bill for June was $470. July would be worse. Diesel for the pump alone cost $200 a week. Did the math in his head constantly, watching profit evaporate into millions. 40 acres got no irrigation. Marcus walked it in a mind, speaking of dust from the cracked surface. Cover crops looked terrible, stunted brown, dying and patches. From the shovel egg. Always double. Up down. Surface, hunger drive. Hungry. Humble, pull away. 10-inch oil shifted by, but not dust. Important. Ground looking. Moisture. Abundant. Pleasant. Channels from last year's production. Underwater. Evaporate. Run off. Structure. That same week, Tom Hayes bought 12 acres of soybeans, low corner of his farm. Ground had turned the soil to brick roots couldn't penetrate. Plant just gave up and died. Hayes was co-op complaining about it, his face red, voice loud enough to carry across the whole building. Worst drought in 15 years. I'm watching my money turn brown, and insurance won't cover it. Not total loss, just partial. You know what partial loss means? It means I still got to combine it. Still got to pay diesel. Look at acres instead of 50. It's not farming, it's low. Marcus was there picking up hydraulic fluid. Baxter kept quiet. Niles tried not to draw attention. Saw him. Hey Webb, how's your dead 40 doing in this heat? Marcus calling on the counter. That's not an answer. The only answer I got. I heard you're not even irrigating. That's true. Letting it die. Letting it prove itself. Other farmers in the co-op had stopped moving. This was entertainment, watching the red ground try to justify another year's wasted money, prove itself. Thunder doesn't prove itself by making. And you can't produce without water in a drought. Some ground holds water better than others. Not ground that's been dead for 20 years. Marcus paid for the hydraulic fence. Outside the heat, like a late Lexington. Truck's air conditioning had to work 6 pounds a day. Go home with the windows down, hot wind, face, hot moisture, 1400 no one bothered. Pete found him on the staff room floor with Berkeley the line. Gone to bed early, exhausted from running equipment 14 hours straight. He stayed up Passenger, quiet, hands shaking slightly. Each hand steady like mining. Not a heart attack. Not a heart attack. Not like you. Not even a year old. ER was bright and full. No like septic. They ran tests, blood work, blood pressure. Doctor was young, maybe 30, dark circles, and he came back with results 2 hours later. The A1C 9.2. That's dangerous for time. That type 2 diabetes. Something you've had it for a while. But diabetes. Blood sugar is running high from some of the blood. That's why you're in doctor. Body's trying to process it quickly. Can't handle it. Manage it. Medication, diet changes, exercise, stress reduction. But uncontrolled diabetes, heart disease, that's contributing factor. Doctor, patient is back in money. But you respond. That's high stress. Long hours, financial uncertainty, physical demand. Medication. They owed $160 out of pocket. Dr. Operating costs were $38,000. Net profit was $10,000. Bank payments were $12,000. Market value stable numbers. Average going up $42,000. Second year. That's $10,000 cash. Thanks. More than that. 10,000. There. How much are you working tomorrow? Next year. Salt. Actually. Thanks. Your wife just told her father. Make the 10 grand thing. Let's get breathing. And admit I was wrong. You weren't wrong. You were optimistic. There's a difference. But optimism doesn't pay bills. Marcus looked out 3 acres of visible evidence. Covered ran all the network. 2 years of work. $3,600 in tips and fees. Hundreds of hours of labor. All of it dedicated for the foundation. I need to think about it. Offer expired Sunday. Dalton climbed back and truck started again. Your dad was a good man, but he made bad bets. You don't have to repeat his mistakes just because they were his. He was waiting in the kitchen when Marcus came back in time. Clara was in the playpen on a rubber toy. What did he offer? 10,000? Cash. That solves our immediate problem. It does. Pete sat down at the table. But why aren't you jumping at it? Because if I sell now, the last 2 years meant nothing. The work meant nothing. And everyone who said I was crazy gets to be right. Maybe they are right, Marcus. Maybe this is one of those things where you tried something, it didn't work, and the smart move is to cut your losses. He looked at her, this woman who married him when he had more hope than sense, given him a daughter who stood by him through fear and doubt and medical care. Her face was thinner than it had been 2 years ago. Pessimism, distress, choices. What do you think I should do? Kate's eyes, voice steady. You can listen, because I can live. Oh, I can live struggling. But I can't for resenting the making you sick, or resenting yourself for putting this gas on an answer. Only. They sat in silence. Sarah dropped her toy, started fussing. Kate got up to tend to her, leaving Marcus alone with the numbers and vision and the weight of promises made to land that might betray him. That Saturday, Marcus walked the 40 acres one more time. Brought the shovel dug in 6 different spots, checked the moisture and depth. It was there. Not much, but present. Structure was holding even through the worst drought we've seen. He drove to the bank on Monday morning. Linda Hayes met with him in her office, same chimney desk, same leather chair. Mr. Webb, I assume you're here about the shortfall. I am. I need another extension. 60 days. Linda folded her desk. We've already given you 2 extensions. That's unusual. Frankly, it's all I'm authorized take it, I can pay the bank in full, catch up on everything, have breathing room. But I need time to decide. Mr. Webb let me be specs. Her financial situation deteriorating. Father's debt is still substantial. Farm income is declining. They're asking the bank to take on more risk with no guarantee of improvement. Stand there. To you, Linda's voice was firm but because your wife called me last week. Did you know that Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach? No. He wanted to know if there were options for restructuring the loan in case something happened to you. Medical emergency. Death. He was very professional about it. Mr. Webb, when a farmer's wife starts asking those questions, tells me she's preparing for worst case scenario. He didn't tell me. Not a word. Or maybe she's being realistic. Linda leaned forward slightly. Take the $10,000. Pay your debt. Give your family security. 40 acres. Believe. Want to try again in a few. And if I don't take it, then I need to spend it full by November 1st. No extension. No exception. Can't pay, we begin foreclosure proceedings. That's it. So, foreclosure. End of everything. Take his father in tears towards his death. Maybe the thing that it caused. Marcus drove home slow, subject to knocking it away and having to close. Probably a raw bearing. That's $500. Things that needed money longer than money. Hatred in the garden. Pulling weeds. Claro, playpen nearby, happy on each other's own. People of peaceful domestic woman, like they were a regular family with regular problems, that the people drowning money of all types of time. They stood up like what did Linda say November? Family, or extension. Daytime. He'd expected. So he takes all the songs. Marcus, something, down the bottom. Marcus was in the garden and we don't have to smell it. Well, that's 6 weeks. 6 weeks to find $2,000 we don't have. 6 weeks to decide what kind of people we want to be. Each Mr. Marcus. I want to be this movie. Don't lose everything. Fine. That's what kind I want to be. Went inside the screen door, clapping his headphones. Martin. He had no idea they were close to losing everything. No idea their father was diabetic. Their mother was terrified that marriage was held together by determination.
Yeah.
Not whether they was discovered that the market October came cool and dry. Crop was technically over. And then had to make a decision about spring planting, about whether to miss planting 20 acres of actual cash crop or continue the soil work for another year. Sat down with Kate one evening after Clara was able to spread out the plan he's been developing. I want to plant 15 acres of soybeans next spring. Keep the other 25 in cover crop. Test the ground and don't risk everything.
Yeah.
Calculated structure there. Tested about health moisture and conventional ground too. If it fails, then I sell. All 4 cases. Take whatever I can get and pay down the debt. Keep it quiet for a long time. Kind of supposed to be responsible. 6 more months. Been planning to get outside. they'd have to dig out them later. They were current. The bank was satisfied. November 1st came and went without foreclosure. Colton Reed stopped by in November, and watching the 40 acres in the drought had pulled up better than expected. He found Marcus and looking up the tractor's hydraulics. I want to learn what you're doing. Cover crop day. Eat roots. Marcus looked up the hydraulic line. Why? I lost 18. Lost none. Dead ground. Better in a drought. Don't know as much as I think I do. Takes time. We're here. Well, I got time. What I don't got is another drought like go bankrupt me. Marcus wiped his hands on his bag. Looked at this young farmer who was willing to say he didn't have all the answers. That's the kind of courage this generation has. Come back in spring. I'll show you what I'm planting, why I'm planting it. Hold it out. Took Marcus' hand. The grip was firm, respectful. First time anyone in the county had seen it 48 and something other than the coat. Later came quiet. Marcus managed his diabetes with medication and diet changes Kate monitored him. His A1C dropped from 9.2 to 7.1. Not great, better. The doctor was cautiously optimistic. Kate was cautiously everything hopeful, terrified, exhausted, determined. She made it explicit. Clara was 18 months old, walking now, talking in short sentences. And had brought another casserole. This time she didn't pity. The church collection didn't happen again. Maybe because they didn't look quite so desperate. Or maybe because everyone was tired of charity that didn't seem to help. Spring of '3 came early. March was warm. 18 acres of soybeans in May. Each cost $1,100. The remaining 25 acres went into another cover crop row. Austrian winter peas and oats. This time different nutrients, different root structure. Kate came out to watch the planting. Stood at the field's edge with Clara who was chasing grasshoppers. Yes, Marcus put off. What did you feel? More emotion. Besides his life. Something harder. Determination. Triumph. Not. No. It's working towards something you won't see results from for years, and trusting the process anyway. Stood together watching Clara play. Watching the 15 acres of raw potential. Watching their entire future rest on the doors. Given up on you. Spring winds carried the smell of fresh earth and growing things. Soybeans would germinate in 7 days, push through the soil, and 10 start showing their true leaves in 14. 14 days to know if hope had been wise, just expensive. Soybeans broke ground on days. Marcus walked the 15 planted acres every morning for breakfast, watching me. Kate came with him twice, Clara riding on his shoulder, all hands. Seedlings were darker green than anything on his main farm, their stems thicker. Subtly spread wide like something that was there. By early June, the plant stood 8 inches tall, county average. Marcus mentioned it at any point. He just watched.
How much do we have?
The rain came on June 11th, on a normal rain of the kind that arrives with tornado warnings and hail threats. The sky turned green at 4 in the afternoon. Temperature dropped 15 degrees in 20 minutes. Marcus moved equipment in bed, tied down anything that could blow away. Kate brought Clara inside, closed all the windows, turned on the weather radio. Storm hit at 6. 8 inches of rain in 14 hours. Thunder that shook the farmhouse windows. Lightning that turned night into strobe light flashes of day. Clara cried through most of it, scared of the noise. Kate held her, walked the house, sang songs that got drowned out by the next thunderclap. By morning, the storm had passed. Rain continued lighter, now steady. Marcus drove the county roads to assess damage. Hayes's low 40 was underwater, a lake where soybeans Dalton Brennan's south field had standing water 2 feet deep. Drainage ditches were overflowing brown water rushing toward the creek, carrying topsoil that farmers couldn't afford to lose. The 40 acres sat in full view from County Road 14. Marcus pulled over, got out of the truck, stood in the drizzle, standing water. The rain was soaking in, running through the drainage channels. Cover crops had built over 3 years. The surface was saturated, unflooded. Soybeans stood upright, leaves heavy with water, but the roots anchored deep. Old Reed pulled up behind him, got out of his own truck. His face was on, exhausted. Night watching. The ground got flooded. Mine got 3 feet below point. Probably lost 20 acres of heat. Under dry already. Not dry, it's raining. Marcus pointed at the slight slope. The water was moving across the field of the slope. Same here, root check. Water has somewhere to go now. Holden walked on, thinking in blood, fog, different, saturated, flooded. He knelt, hand in oil. It gave way easily, none of the cement like this compacted clay. This is the bed ground everyone laughed at. Mud. Holden scooped up mud on his hands. I need you to teach me this. Whatever you're doing, I need to learn. Come back in 2 weeks when things dry out. I'll show you the whole system. That afternoon, Marcus walked the 15 planted acres. Soybeans had yellowed slightly with the danger of the press showing in the snow. They were upright roots, packed. Dug down with the stubble checking moisture, different depth. 8 inches saturated. 12 inches moist but not waterlogged. 16 inches perfect moisture, the kind that each plant supplies structure holding, not just surviving, but forming exactly as it's supposed to. Kate found him there at sunset, Clara in her arms, both of them were in rain. The sky was clearing to the west, orange light. Marcus was sitting on his heels, a handful of soil in his palm, his face wet, so the rain had stopped hours ago. Your pride wiped his eyes. Yeah. Good tears, I don't know yet. Ask me in October. But Kate was smiling the first real smile Marcus had seen on her face in months. The ground held. It held. Sat down next to him. Clara between them. 3 of them looking at 15 acres of soybeans that had survived what killed crops all over the county. Clara grabbed a handful of dirt and tried to eat. Kate stopped her. Lance wiped her daughter's bloody fingers. No, Kate. This is what you saw, isn't it? 3 years ago when you dug that first hole, you saw this. I hoped for it. Hope and seeing aren't the same thing. They are when you're willing to work for it. Kate leaned her head on his shoulder. Sorry I doubted you. Said everything. I was asking you something. Alive and perfect. Warm days, cool nights, rain and intensity like fun. Soybeans on the 45 road. Every farmer exposed their sons to the stairs. County average height, inches by mid-July. Marcus, 22 inches, stabbed a stick with pencil, canopy closing his height. Dalton Brennan stopped by the farmhouse on a Tuesday evening. He didn't stay in his truck this time, walked up to the porch where Marcus was touching the ceremony. Dalton's face had changed somehow, arrogant, out of it. Seems like you're doing all right. Better than all right. The best looking crop in the county. On ground, I told everyone was working. Dalton sat on the porch step uninvited but not unwelcome. I was wrong about you. You were protecting what you knew. You can't fault a man who's happy. I could fault him for being an asshole about it. Luke's been after me for 3 years to apologize. Finally got tired of hearing it. Kate brought out ice and tea without being asked. Set glasses on the porch ring. Dalton thanked her. Drank half of it, one full. I lost 42 acres that June rain. Flooded out total loss. Insurance will cover some, but not all. We lost nothing. I got lucky. Luck's what people call it when they don't understand the work. Dalton finished his tea, stood up. Your beans yield what they look like. They'll yield you're going to make people rethink a lot of things they thought they knew. Kate sat down next to Marcus, watched the taillights disappear down the driveway. That might have been an apology. Close enough. August brought heat, not drought. The soybeans went into reproduction flowers, appearing along the stem pods beginning to form. Marcus walked the field daily, checking for disease tests. Anything that could reveal what 3 years of patience so for. His diabetes stabilized. The 1C was 6.8. Now the doctor was pleased. Kate had him on a strict schedule medication at the same time every day. Blood sugar testing twice daily, no skipped meals. He'd become ruthless about his health in a way that felt like love even when it annoyed him. Clara was just past 2 years old now, talking in full sentences, helping Kate in the garden, riding in the tractor kit with Marcus with letters. He had Kate's eyes and a stubborn streak that belonged to both of them. The call came from Linda Hayes in August. Marcus took it in the machine shed, his hands black with grease from placing the bearing on the grain augers. Mr. Webb, I wanted to give you a heads up. Your account is flagged for review next month. I've been making payments. You have. But we need to discuss long-term stability. Your income's been volatile, your debt-to-asset ratio is turning. I'd like to schedule a meeting for early September to go for options. The word options in banking language is trouble, restructuring, interest, shorter term, all the things tighten the. I'll be there. He hung up, leaned against the workbench. 3 years of work of fighting, of nearly dying from stress. The bank was still circling like something waiting for him to stumble. Kate found him there an hour later. Bearing job half finished. Marcus staring at a crescent wrench in his hand. What happened? The bank wants a meeting. View my account. Discussion of options. Kate's face went. Since harvest October 1st, weather cooperates. And the meeting early September. For harvest. So they'll decide our fate before we can prove the 40 was worth it. Seems that way. Kate picked up the bearing he'd been replacing, turned it over in her hand. Then we go to that meeting and tell them what. Show them projected yields, market prices, revenue estimates. Make them believe before the proof arrives. Harvest anyway and prove them wrong afterwards. September came cool and dry, perfect, finishing crop. Soybeans on the 40 were loaded with pods, the plant starting to color. Marcus ran the numbers a dozen times, calculating best case scenario. Best case, 55 bushels per acre, 15 acres, $11 per bushel market price. Revenue of $9,100 from 40 alone, combined with the main farm, they net $42,000 a year, enough to pay the bank, rebuild savings free. Worst case, 40 bushels per acre, $9 per bushel, $5,400. Barely enough to justify the 3 years of work. He needed something in between. He needed proof that wasn't quite perfect, but couldn't be denied. Dalton Brennan appeared at the farmhouse on the last Sunday in September. This time he brought Ruth, who carried a casserole that smelled like chicken and cream of mushrooms. He wanted to make an offer before someone else did. Dalton looked uncomfortable, like a man doing something his wife had insisted on. And the bullshit speak to. What kind of offer? 400 an acre, 40. That's $16,000 cash. Ruth set the casserole on the porch table. You've proven everyone wrong, Marcus. You've shown that land can produce. Now's the time to take your profit. Harvest hasn't happened yet. So, and when it does, you'll have buyers lining up. We're offering now before the rush. Guaranteed money instead of market gamble. Kate came to the door, Clara behind her, clinging to his leg. He looked at the casserole with a carefully neutral expression at Dalton's. Can we think about it? Of course. Mild, genuine warmth in it. Take your time. Offer's good through Friday. After they left, Marcus and Kate sat at the table. The casserole steamed between them. Clara was in the living room watching cartoons, her laughter carrying the house. $16,000. Kate's voice, quiet, factual. He could pay off the bank completely, have money left over. He could. Don't want to. I want to harvest. I want to see what 3 years of work actually. Taking money now feels like quitting before the finish line. the harvest is point. Just average. And we'll know. And knowing is worth more than wondering the rest of our lives. 8 reasons prostitute. What do you need? Tell me what you need. Not what you need. What you actually need. Quiet for a long time. Thumb rubbing across his knuckles. No time. I think I'm tired. I think 3 years ago I was terrified you'd die like your father, that we'd lose everything, that I'd be alone with a baby and nothing. I've lived in that fear. Still feel that way? No. Kate's eyes. Different now. Not diabetes, genetics, taking care of yourself. You're not killing yourself to prove something that don't matter. I'm scared of us selling now and spending the rest of our lives wondering what would have happened if we finished what we started. Marcus felt something in his chest unclench and tightness and realized carrying. So we harvest. We harvest. Whatever it yields, we together. We called Dalton the next morning.